stop this silly work from home nonsense right now and just manage the money I earn.
My husband John yelled at me while I was working on my computer.
It barely brings in any money anyway. It looks cheap, so quit right now.
Not satisfied with just yelling, John shoved his pay stub in my face and continued.
Look at this carefully. My income is more than enough. Are you saying you still want more money?
He always bragged about his high salary and looked down on me like this. John seemed to hate that I refused to quit my remote work. I had grown tired of him acting like this lately. My work-from-home job was definitely not just some hobby, as he called it. I had been doing it since I was single, and when I resigned after getting married, the company told me that they wanted me to continue working with them. However, John insisted that I absolutely must become a full-time housewife. I was hesitant, but I loved my kind husband and thought I'd want to be with our children when we had them, so I decided to resign. That's when the company set up a work-from-home arrangement for me. I had unique technical skills that no one else had, and since I loved my job, I was very grateful for the opportunity to work from home. I thought this would be a perfect way to balance housework and my career. However, John wasn't happy about this arrangement.
I want you to focus on housework and not do any work from home.
He kept saying. I explained many times.
This is important work. If I quit, it would cause problems for many people.
Yet, no matter how many times we discussed it, we never saw eye to eye, and John wouldn't listen to my side.
People will think my salary is low if they find out you're working from home.
These days, it's normal for both spouses to work. He probably just wanted to feel superior about supporting me. John worked at a large corporation and always bragged about.
I am on the fast track to promotion.
Maybe because he was confident about his high income, he treated me like a housekeeper. I couldn't tell if he wanted a wife or a housekeeper, as he never helped with any housework. I had to prepare his towel and clean underwear while he was in the shower. There were many rules like this, and if I failed to follow even one, I would be criticized for not handling the housework properly. After yelling about my work-from-home job, John left for the office. Right after, I received a text from him saying,
I won't allow you to continue working from home anymore. This is your final warning.
Even if I continued secretly at home, he would eventually find out. John would either confront me directly or send angry texts. He just kept repeating,
Work from home jobs are worthless. Quit soon.
When we first got married, John often struggled with work problems. Back then, he was kind and would listen to what I had to say. However, as his career gradually improved, his attitude changed. One day, I got a call from my dad.
Actually, I have something to ask you.
Dad said he needed my technical skills for a new project he was launching. Though surprised by the sudden request, I was happy to be able to help him.
What do you think? Can you do it?
Of course. I'll do my best.
At that moment, thoughts of John crossed my mind. What should I do? What would he say if he found out about this? While thinking about this, my expression darkened. Noticing my sudden silence, Dad immediately realized something was wrong.
What's wrong? Are you too busy with work? We can adjust the schedule to fit your needs.
I wanted to talk to him about it, but didn't want to worry him.
I'll discuss it with you later.
It was all I could say to avoid the topic. I had agreed to Dad's project, but if I joined, John would definitely find out. I sighed, remembering his text, saying, "This is your final warning." A week later, I was focused on my work, wearing headphones in my room. Suddenly, with a loud bang, John came in. I remembered him saying he would be home late that day, so why? I had completely let my guard down and didn't notice him coming. This was not good. I instinctively tensed up. At that moment, he poured beer over my head. I froze in shock and confusion. Why? What for? Questions kept flooding my mind. John glared at me with an angry expression.
What are you doing without cleaning the bathroom? I've always told you to have it ready when I get home. And dinner isn't ready either. You good for nothing.
I didn't think you'd be home this early.
I hadn't cleaned up the bathroom yet. Dinner was all prepared in the fridge, ready to serve. Either way, was this any reason to pour beer on me? Beer dripped from my face and hair.
How could you do this? I was in the middle of important work.
On my computer screen, I saw a room was being displayed.
What's so important about this? Stop using work from home as an excuse to slack off on housework. I warned you that was your final warning.
John was convinced I was lying. His intensity scared me into silence.
A wife should just shut up and do the housework. Got it? A wife is her husband's slave.
I was shocked by his cruel words. A husband's slave? Is that why I got married? The questions kept growing in my mind.
No way, that's not right. I'm managing both housework and my job. Dinner is ready in the fridge, and I can clean the bathroom and get it ready immediately.
Come on, all you do is make excuses. I'm going to force you to quit your job.
I was bewildered by his unreasonable demands. This was too cruel. I had been patient because I wanted to support him, but I'd reached my limit. I realized it was pointless to say anything more to him. The love in my heart rapidly turned cold. I realized that his idea of marriage was completely different from that of mine.
Do you think you can say these things without consequences? You're going to regret this.
Huh, what are you?
At that moment, the face of the person who had stepped away appeared on the monitor. Seeing that face, John turned pale and began trembling. It was Dad on the screen. Dad's face showed an expression of anger. John was holding a beer bottle, and I was soaking wet. From this scene, Dad seemed to understand everything.
Oh, this isn't what it looks like. This is.
As John frantically tried to make excuses, Dad spoke first.
You have any last words?
John froze at Dad's low, intimidating voice. In fact, John's company and Dad's company were business partners. John's career advancement had started because of successful deals with Dad's company. I had consulted Dad and asked for his help back then. John must surely realize that his promotion was due to the successful large-scale deal with Dad's company. However, he had angered the very person who had helped him. Realizing how serious this was, John remained silent, unable to say anything.
Wait there. We'll discuss this properly.
Dad said so before ending the remote call. Right after that, John, who had been silent, spoke up.
Listen, you need to explain to your father that this was all your fault.
What was he talking about? John must be worried about what might happen to their ongoing business deals. He had apparently decided to pin all the blame on me.
Have an apology letter ready.
Why should I? I won't do that.
When I refused his demand, John finally lost it.
Are you saying you don't care what happens to my position at work? If you can't do this, we're getting divorced. Do you understand?
How cruel. I had worked so hard to support John all this time. Yet, this man only thought about himself. He only saw me as a housekeeper who existed to serve his needs. Realizing he was a despicable man who pushed blame onto others when things went wrong, I trembled with anger. Unforgivable. I would definitely get revenge. I made a firm resolution. A few days later, Dad contacted us, asking both of us to come to my parents' house. Before arriving at my parents' house, John said,
You prepared it properly, right?
he must mean the apology letter.
Yes, I have prepared it properly.
I answered quietly, looking him in the eyes. John, Dad, and I sat on the sofa in the living room.
Let's hear your explanation about what happened the other day.
John flinched at Dad's stern tone.
It's not what you think. There's been a misunderstanding.
What's not what I think? Explain it so I can understand.
Dad's anger grew as John refused to apologize.
Ava always neglects her housework, so when she used working from home as an excuse, I thought she was slacking off again.
Are you saying this is Ava's fault?
John kept glancing at me repeatedly. He instructed me to say it was my fault if Dad confronted us. However, I wasn't his slave anymore.
Wait a moment. There's something I want to show you.
John smirked, thinking I was about to present the apology letter. When I unfolded the paper, he froze in shock. What I had prepared was divorce papers.
Hey, what is this?
You said we'd get divorced if I worked from home again, didn't you?
John frantically tried to explain.
No, that's not what I meant. I have no intention of getting divorced.
He probably realized that if I divorced him, the business deals with Dad's company would end.
I don't want to go back to being your slave anymore.
What nonsense are you talking about? You are just a housewife, and you can't make a living with your little work-from-home hobby. I'm the one supporting you. A wife should shut up and do as she's told.
I'd heard it all. No matter how hard I worked on housework, I was never praised. Instead, it was just expected. Work from home was just a housewife's hobby? Don't make me laugh. Remembering how I'd been treated, my anger rose. I shoved my pay stub in John's face.
Did you say I can't make a living? Take a good look. I've been earning way more than your salary. Do you still want to call this a housewife's hobby?
John turned pale and trembled as he looked at the pay stub. His silence fueled my anger.
I asked if you still want to say all those things you said. Just so you know, I can live perfectly well on my income alone.
No way. That can't be.
John mumbled weakly at my loud voice. He had been convinced that I couldn't earn much working from home. He probably never dreamed I was earning more than him.
Could you earn this much salary and handle all the housework?
This was impossible for John, who was overwhelmed just by work and dumped all the housework on me.
Ava is currently helping me with a major project. I actually wanted to meet in person, but she insisted on remote meetings.
I didn't know that. If I had known, I would have been supportive.
His desperate explanations came too late.
Ava showed me you two guys' past exchanges.
While saying this, Dad showed me the screen with all the threatening messages John had sent me. John turned pale with shock when he saw the screen.
I can't trust my daughter with someone like you. If Ava wants a divorce, she has my full support.
Oh no.
As John's shoulders slumped, Dad continued.
I don't think you can hurt my precious daughter and still keep doing business as usual. We're cutting all ties with your company, so be prepared.
Please, anything but that. If we lose this business, what will happen to my position at the company?
Still, John was only thinking about himself.
You always think only about yourself. Can't you ever consider other people's feelings?
Come to think of it, John had never been empathetic to my feelings. He probably chose me because he thought I wouldn't talk back and would obediently do as I was told.
A wife is neither a slave nor a housekeeper. I'm not going back to that house. I'm staying here at my parents' home.
Over the past few days, I had already brought my valuables to my parents' house. I had made up my mind to separate from John and get divorced. Following that, as I had stated, our divorce was finalized. John probably realized the divorce was inevitable when he learned that Dad had hired an excellent attorney. He signed the divorce papers immediately. Dad canceled all business dealings with John's company. He told John's company that he couldn't trust business to someone who treated his wife like a slave. John ended up getting fired from his company due to concerns about his character. Afterward, although he found a new job, John continued to look down on others. He would brag about his previous job at a large corporation and act superior to his new colleagues. He quickly caused problems, couldn't keep a steady job, and spiraled downward. As for me, I am freed from the obligatory housework, and my career is going well. Now, I not only work from home but occasionally go to the office for meetings. Meeting in person does make work more efficient, and it's nice to see my colleagues.
Dad, thank you for everything.
I said to Dad as he relaxed in the living room.
I really wanted to show you grandchildren soon, but I guess that's difficult now.
You're still young. There will be plenty of opportunities ahead. I just want you to be happy.
With that, he encouraged me. After such a painful and difficult marriage with John, I'm done with marriage for a while. Still, if I find a good match, I want to marry someone with whom I can build an equal relationship as an individual.